coming up on the Lead Ministry Podcast.
It gives us clarity and unity and alignment. And then when we have accountability, there's clarity. We have it's like when there isn't organizational clarity, it's having accountability without a scoreboard.
Now your host, Josh Denhart.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Lead Ministry Podcast. Hey gang, guess what? We're starting a brand new year. And guess what? We're doing every single month, we're picking a topic that's going to help you be successful. This is the big buckets of ministry. We want to touch on every one of those big buckets to make sure that you are being successful. And so it's a brand new year. It's a new year. It's a new you. We're talking about productivity and how you can be an extremely productive person. We got one of my favorite people going, Mr. Vance Martin. Good to see you again, buddy. Happy New Year.
I'll wear that title. Happy New Year to you, my friend.
You bet. You bet. Well, I'm always grateful to be talking about these things with you. This is a passion topic for you today. So we want to give as much room as we can to this. And here it is. It's how to start a movement. I mean, it is a new year. Can you believe it? It's 2026. We're here. Yes. We're ready. By the way, Vance, this is the month that I turned 30 as a Christian. How exciting is that?
Really?
Yeah, 1996. That's when Josh became a Christian.
In the 1900s.
Yes, 1996. Yes. But here's the deal. This is a special month for me. It's a special year for me. But I like this idea of how to start a movement. And you made up a word here. It's called movemental organizations. That was a new one for me.
I did. Yeah.
This is the Vance lexicon. This is Vance's word.
I told you earlier, I said, this is actually the first kind of leadership construct that I ever came up with. And so just where this came from was actually, I was at our church and our executive team wanted to kind of hear from all of the staff. And this was the question was, what keeps us from being a movement or a movemental organization. And so as I began to chew on this and think about this, that's where this construct came from. And so then I presented it to our lead team as, hey, here's what I think is, what's causing us to stall out and what we need to move forward. So that was the birthplace of this and where
that's
where
super cool, man. Well, it's define it. We're going to define it. We're going to develop it, take it deeper, and then we're going to have a call to action. So let's get after it here. What is a movemental organization? And that's not a mispronunciation. This is a new word for me, movemental. Okay, talk to us.
So, in New Testament, you see the word ecclesia. It talks about what we say is the first century church, but ecclesia, what that really means when it referred to the New Testament church was a movement of people. It's a gathering, a called out group. So the church wasn't what we think it means. The church was a movement of people that are changing things. And so that word ecclesia in the Greek, we would translate that the church, but what it really means is this is a movement of
called out people
that are called out, that are doing things for the kingdom. And so how do we create a lot of times we don't have control over the larger my church as an ecclesia movement, but I can be the catalyst for what God has called me to lead, to be that ecclesia movemental organization. So that's what we want to create, an organization that is making a difference.
And so the way that this definition is, there's something called organizational clarity, there's individual accountability, and there's team innovation.
Yes. So these are the three primary elements of that movemental organization, or this movement, this ecclesia movement. So again, just to give the overview of organizational clarity, it's that we as an organization know our identity, our purpose, our direction. We've got clarity on who, what, where, when, how, why. We know what it is. It's within us. Individual accountability. So you've got the organizational clarity, individual accountability, where it's built into what am I responsible for in my contribution to that, and then team innovation as a team? How are we problem solving and how are we accomplishing this? And what we'll get into is that how these play off of each other. And more often than not, many organizations are good at one or two, which result in it creates a deficiency in a certain area or fruit of that when you don't have these working together.
Very interesting. And it immediately, when you said that it's usually two of three, like I went to different organizations that I've been a part of and I'm like, whoa, we certainly knew where we were going, but nobody was held accountable. Oh, yes. Interesting. Okay. So what are the three elements? Well, we've got this, we're not gonna be able to hit on this too much, but if you were watching this from a YouTube standpoint, there is a beautiful infographic. It's kind of a, what is this?
It's a Venn diagram.
It's a Venn diagram. It's got organizational clarity. It's got individual accountability. It's got team innovation. And so we're going to break these down. Am I right, Vance?
That's right. We are.
Okay. So I love this. Organizational clarity. Without clarity, confusion reigns and the team spins in circles. I've been a part of this before.
Yeah. So often, again, if an organization, sometimes the framework is the easiest to think about when something lacks, right? So what this leads to often is where you don't have organizational clarity, but you do have individual accountability or team innovation. If you get that individual accountability, but not organizational clarity, that produces stagnation, right? Yeah. Or it can become this, the cultures of these organizations, they're all about the rules and the why. And it's not, they're just, we got to you got to keep chugging, keep doing, but we don't have clarity of where we're going. We're in the everyday, just chugging along, and we're not really getting anywhere. We're spinning in circles.
And this usually leads, when you lack organizational clarity, this can be strong leaders without organizational clarity lead to heavy-duty silos.
That's right. Yeah. So when you have that pressure of the individual accountability, you've got to produce, but yet what that does is it sends energy in all the wrong directions. I'm going to start working on things, trying to produce, trying to please, trying to accomplish what you've asked me to. But if there's no organizational clarity, we're rowing
in different directions.
That's right.
Okay, so this is the ask and answer portion. It needs to be who's doing what are you uniquely called to do, and why do we exist? These are great questions, Vance.
This is how do we get that organizational clarity? What we at the highest level, we've got to figure out, yes, who's doing what, who is responsible for this, because a lot of times the organizational clarity is we're assuming that somebody is owning this task or this job or this thing, and if everybody's assuming that somebody else is doing it, nobody's doing it.
I agree.
Or there hasn't been a clear accountability set of who is responsible, and so therefore nobody is responsible. Mm-hmm. And it creates frustration. We're not going to get to do it.
Well, that leads to number two, though, right? What are we uniquely called to do? Because guess what? I've watched churches try to be all things to all people at all times, and it's just too much. You sometimes need to really specify, who are we seeking to reach? What is our unique calling as a church? That's interesting. And that leads to, why do we exist? Am I right?
That's right. So it's answering these deep who, what, and why questions, just continuing to drill down. Who are we? Who has God called us to? It gives us clarity and unity and alignment. And then when we have accountability, there's clarity. It's like when there isn't organizational clarity, it's having accountability without a scoreboard.
Ooh, yeah.
Nobody knows what the score is. There's a lot of activity happening, but there's no way to keep the score because we don't know what the scoreboard is. There's no target for what we're shooting for, and we're just creating things as a team that might be great or fun or awesome, but are they leading us to where we need to go?
And
maybe not.
And it's usually the most excited, loudest voice, or the person who is individually the most organized. And all of a sudden, they are now leading the whole ship, or they're leading their portion of the ship really well. It's just, it's without organizational clarity. But I like this idea of individual accountability. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, so this is something I say a lot, and I'm sure I've said it on this podcast at some point. But without clarity, leaders tend to overextend grace instead of providing direction. So wherever I lack clarity, clarity becomes the lid of accountability that I can bring.
Right.
And when I don't communicate, then the expectations are lower than what we expect. There's a gap that automatically is created where if I didn't communicate clearly, I have to give grace for that gap. Instead of I lose my ability to hold accountable to the standard if the standard was not communicated with clarity of this is what the direction we're going. This is what we expect. This is the bar that we're setting. So clarity gives the right for accountability.
It's very, very, very interesting. And I've watched leaders to where this becomes a serious problem. Okay, let's talk about this accountability piece just a little bit. Healthy accountability. Help us out.
Yeah. Feels like coaching, not controlling. Healthy accountability when I'm coaching, and we've talked about this in other episodes, it's that giving that clear direction of here's where you are, here's where the standard is, and now here's how we're going to help close that gap. Often leaders will find that this is micromanaging. No, this is creating a clear goal, a clear scoreboard, and this is giving freedom. People want to know what's expected of them. So giving them now where it might be controlling is if you have a lot of times very specific ways on how to get there.
Okay, that's the deal. Because I love knowing where we're going, and then I love it when they say, "Hey, racehorse, get us there. You know this North Star. Take a little bit of an end around. I don't care. This is where we're headed." I love the freedom there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and so that healthy accountability is knowing what your people are capable of. If they are a racehorse, then let them run. If they're a newborn foal, they might need a little bit more direction of here's the steps, here's how you're going to accomplish that.
Yes.
Knowing your people well and knowing what level of accountability and clarity to bring. But clarity always is what you want to bring.
And so that helps us though, right? Because healthy accountability, it motivates rather than manipulates. And so you said it a second ago, it's knowing your people. And when you know your people, you know their gifts, their strengths, their superpowers, and you can motivate them and get action from them without seeking to control or manipulate them.
Yeah, people know when the slight difference between motivation and manipulation is the mental state and closeness of fear that the leader is. The closer that you are fear motivated as a leader, the leaning towards manipulating you will be. But the further away from fear that you can operate as a leader, the more motivating your direction will be. And so often the way it comes across is it's because of how we perceive things, and a fear-based leader will often manipulate instead of motivate. And so
nobody wants that.
That's a heart check. That's
that
right. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that. Okay, so from a healthy accountability standpoint, this releases people to do their best work. In other words, when they know where we're headed, they know the goal, and they have the freedom to achieve that goal in ways that are in keeping with who they are. It's not just like a punch list that I have to do it just. This comes back to when I was a kid. My dad said, "Hey, I need you to mow the yard, and it needs to be exactly done this way." He goes, "There is no other way." And in my mind, I was like, mouthy little kid that I was like, there's actually 3 ways that I can think of. So he didn't give as much freedom, but people need to be released to do their best work.
That's right. Knowing what is the goal? The result, or is the journey the result?
Right.
There is a difference, because sometimes there is a procedure that needs to be followed, and you got to know as the leader, when is that time to explain this is the procedure, or when do you release your people and say, I don't care how you get there. This is what we want.
And by the way, for me, that I think is the healthiest place, is to go, this is the North Star. We've clarified this greatly. This is what a win looks like. Go make that happen and dream, dream creatively to get us there. That's awesome.
So I always like to point the finger back to the leader.
Yes.
If you are not able to release your people to accomplish the goal, it is because you have not developed them well enough.
Agreed.
You don't trust them enough because you haven't developed them enough.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't trust them, it's not because of their inefficiencies. It's because you have not done your work as a leader. A good leader develops their team to a point where, go get it. And I trust that you're going to get it done. I know you will. And if you don't trust them, it means that you haven't done it well enough, or you're still on that journey of developing them to build that level of trust.
Okay. This is very interesting, because it's about developing them, but it's also the other flip side is that you've not been clear enough as to what you really want.
That's right.
If you've got highly developed people, but you've not been clear, then they're going to go over this direction because they're highly developed and they're.
That's why that's part of this. You
framework.
Can't have one without the other. That's right.
That's right. Now let's talk about innovation, right? So we talked about understanding the direction that the entire church is going to go, and then having people be held accountable, giving them freedom, but saying, don't forget, this is where we're going. But now it comes down to innovation. So team innovation, number 1, innovation flows within the boundaries of clarity and accountability. Basically what we just said.
Yes, we covered this. So when you have that overall clarity, you've got the team, the individual accountability. The result of that is teams will innovate. When they have those guardrails, they're going to come up with what the best solution is. They're going to solve the problems together. Again, when you don't have organizational clarity, you got individual accountability and team innovation. That provides frustration. When you lack the innovation, you've got organizational clarity and accountability. That produces stagnation. You don't go anywhere. When you've got the clarity and the team innovation without the personal accountability, you get apathy, right?
Nobody wants that.
So that's right. So the innovation piece is what it's when all of these are interconnected, but when you have that clarity, you have the accountability, now the team can run. We know what our goal is. We're solving problems. We're coming up. We're building new things.
We're creating.
Designing.
We're innovating.
Yes, we're innovating. We're creating new things. This isn't just about problem solving. This is, we know where we're going. We know what's expected of us. And now as a team, we can develop things and build and dream new things of what's going to help us accomplish that overall vision that God's given us.
This other team innovation piece is when a team knows the vision and owns their role, like you said, they will naturally start coming up with out-of-the-box creative solutions. And that is this. Yes. This is why we're doing this early in the year, right? This is kind of this like reset your productivity. But remember, you got to know where you're going. You got to really, really, really hold people accountable to go, now time out real quick. We're going here, remember? And then once everybody's on the same page, and Patrick Lencioni's 5 dysfunctions of a team, you will naturally begin to percolate great and beautiful things that you never thought were possible.
That's right. It sets the stage for it. Absolutely.
It really does. Well, this is good. Let's hit number 3 here. It says, creativity thrives under healthy constraints. Talk to us about those healthy constraints.
Yes. What's the old saying? I always want to say it and then I can't remember. I think it's
okay.
Invention is the
mother
of what? What, Josh? Help me.
Well, wait.
Invention is the mother of...
No. It's the reverse. Something is the mother of invention.
Okay. It's this hardship, essentially. It's when things are hard.
Yes. Like in other words, war is the mother of all invention. Great pain is the mother of all invention. That's kind of what we're talking about. Am I right?
Yeah. So, but it's within these, why do we need to innovate? It's because, again, when we have clarity of who we're called to, and I've got the accountability that I know I'm going to be held accountable to this, that's the healthy pressure, right? The right side pressure with the clarity that drives me forward to now solve this problem and accomplish the mission. Those are the healthy constraints that pushes things forward. The healthy pressure, like if I'm pushing on a toothpaste tube, if that healthy pressure that's coming in on it, it results in me getting the toothpaste.
That's right.
That I want.
The interesting
pressure
thing
is a good thing.
It is a good thing. It's interesting. I did a church consulting thing today and was with their church for a couple of hours. And we had this fantastic thing that we did, Vance. And it was really amazing. And I was really appreciative of what we had accomplished. But I said, hey guys, we're closing here. Do you want to know how I, Josh, lay up treasure in heaven? I said, here's how this goes. By the way, my inspirational talk to you, this does not lay me up treasure in heaven. When I want to know how I get treasure in heaven, when my inspirational talk and our interaction today actually motivates you to do something, and then you do that, and then I get treasure in heaven because I was a part of a process that led to kingdom things moving forward. And so then I went around the circle. I've never done it this way before, but I said, who do you report to? And they said, that guy over there. I said, okay, that guy over there. They gave their idea as far as what they're going to do for ministry multiplication. And if you don't hold them accountable, they're going to blow this off. Right. And I said, and who do you report to? And so I instituted, even today in somebody else's church culture, to say the only way that we're going to achieve greatness with this is that if your feet are to the fire. And so feet to the fire breeds innovation, and I've got to figure this out. But a simple talk that I give, and you shared your little piece, we all felt kind of fluffy and flowery and really good. No, somebody's going to ask you about this. And I just got a text a little bit ago from the senior pastor and the executive pastor that are like, just so you know, we had a conversation and we just alerted everybody, this is coming back around. So there you go. That's a good thing.
It works.
Well, if you do this the right way, people are going to ask, good gracious, how can I solve this? Which then leads to this, there's this like open-handedness of what if we tried this, right? Innovation isn't random. It's the overflow of a team that knows where they're going. They trust that one another are going to actually get the stuff done. And they feel this deep sense of empowerment. Yes.
This is how you create, again, the whole point. What are we looking for? A movement.
Yeah.
This is, and so essentially this is, how do you lay the groundwork for something? Often we feel like we have to be the drivers of this.
Right.
What this is if you focus on getting these elements correct,
right,
the result is a living, movemental, breathing organization that moves the kingdom forward. That's the goal. So this is the fruit that that you'll see it, that you've done your job to create these three healthy, balanced elements within your organization, what you're responsible for. People begin to, how can I solve this? What if we tried this? They start innovating and creating and solving problems.
This is very interesting, right? Because all of a sudden, the quiet guy in the corner of the room, right? If all of a sudden you've done your job and you have these elements at play, all of a sudden he kind of like, for the first time in 8 years, raises his hand and he said, hey, what if, and you're like, oh my word, he's contributing because he caught it.
That's right. So, I mean, really at the end of the day, and this is lead productivity.
Yes.
This is about doing more. This is about creating a culture that produces, that's
Right.
self-replicating, that this is something you don't have to keep driving.
Right.
You've set these things up and set things in motion, and this is a perpetual movement machine.
Well, the thing is, Vance, is that this is the work of a leader. This is the work of a leader. And then you release people to carry out all of this work. And now watch this. We're talking about lead productively. We're wanting to kick off this year and go in the right direction, actually make a difference, not necessarily for once, but to make a difference and make this year really count. And we as leaders, we need to be really in a sense, the chemists, right? That have these couple of elements and we put them in and we mix them up. And then all of a sudden it is creating energy that we never thought possible before.
That's right.
Something new.
Yeah.
Well, this is good stuff. Let's move on and we're going to close it out with this. So becoming a movemental organization in your context, how do you do it? Well, it's assessing your clarity. Can everybody on the team articulate the vision, what their role is, and what success looks like? Give us some thoughts about this.
It's just a good marker. It's a good test. Do we have enough clarity? You can ask these questions. Does everybody know what their role is and how they contribute, what their job is? Can they articulate the vision? I can't tell you how many times I go into a church and again, they got all these things that are written on a wall.
Oh boy.
And you say, well, what's the vision? They don't know. So this isn't within them. And so, again, what is a scoreboard? What does success look like for me?
Mm-hmm.
If people can't naturally answer these questions, we got to work on clarity.
We're not there yet. Yeah.
Yep,
well, another piece is accountability rhythms, which is interesting. This is hearkening back to our month of November, talking about meetings. You need to have regular one-on-ones. And a part of that regular one-on-one meeting structure is holding people accountable to go, well, first of all, time out. You know this is where we're supposed to go, right? It's reminding. It is saying, this is your piece, and how are you doing on that?
Mm-hmm. That's right. There's no way to have the individual accountability piece at a high level without the regular one-on-one. That's where you're implementing, and that support, direction, and correction comes from.
That's exactly
It's happening every day, but at least you've got that, marker of natural rhythm.
That's right. And that one-on-one is, especially if you create your culture this way, is a natural place and space for you to say, where are you with that?
Yeah.
That's right. A good thing. Well, another accountability rhythm is the idea of feedback loops. Talk to us about this.
So this is like in the one-on-ones, you're asking for how are things going, but I would say this expands out beyond just even the people you're working for. It's creating feedback loops throughout the levels of your organization and different areas of your organization, getting feedback on how things are going. How are we going in the right direction? What is the culture like? Gaining the information. In other words, don't just believe what you hear. Mm-hmm. Not that the people that we're meeting with aren't trustworthy, but I need to see this from my own eyes, where it's unfiltered, and I need to receive it from them. And often what happens is sometimes the things that you need to hear, if you're at the top of the organization, don't naturally make their way all the way up.
That's right.
And so you don't know what course corrections to make. And so creating those feedback loops, a lot of times these are unofficial. This is water cooler conversations.
Oh, yeah.
This is in the hallway. Hey, how's this going? Hey, what do you think about this?
I call this trust and verify. I trust you. I trust what you're saying, but I'm going to verify by my very own eyesight that this room is operating this way and you're producing the way. So this is feedback loops. I like that. Now, another one, shared wins plus honest course corrections. Very important when you're looking to be productive and you're looking to have, as a whole church or as your department is looking to be super productive in carrying out a vision, shared wins plus an honest course correction.
Yeah. So at one point when we were in the middle of building a new leadership structure in our team, and we were inviting people to take that next step, how we shared wins is I went and bought a gong. And we literally in our office, when somebody at any point in the day would say yes, we'd get that gong out and just go out into the shared picture, whang, and everybody would come running and we would share the story in that moment. Hey, this person said yes, they stepped up. And so this was a way for us to celebrate that shared win, high five. This is our North Star. And so we just got there, and then everybody else can share that win. And what does that do for them? I want to get a gong.
That's right.
Like sound. I'm going to go do what I need to do to get to, I want to ring the gong.
But in those one-on-ones though, there is some honest course correction to go, hey, guess what? You see that we got gongs gonging, and not like we need you to have your gong gonged, but the deal is, buddy, is that you're not doing your part.
Well, and it goes back to what we talked about in the one-on-ones. It's asking, hey, again, how do you get the best from someone?
Yes.
It's what are you doing? How can I help you? What's the roadblock? What is holding you back?
Show me the log jam. Show me the log jam. Is it me?
That's right.
Is it you're out of time? Is it you don't have the money? You don't have the right volunteers? What is log jamming you? Because from where I sit, it appears as if you need some extra help here. How can I help you? And that's an easy way to say, why aren't you hitting the gong, buddy? What's going on here?
As a leader, it is very easy to create a narrative in your mind as to why someone isn't accomplishing their job. You create this narrative of they're lazy, they're incompetent, they're against you, they're whatever. That's an inhonest course correction. An honest course correction is I'm not going to believe what I think. I'm going to believe the best, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this, because there is something is causing the issue. If I come and attack with that assumption, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm going to get shut down. If I really want to remove the logjam, I'm going to ask good questions.
Love it.
And kindly dig to the bottom see the difference in pulling the weed or pulling the root.
That's exactly right. And by the way, I love this last thing here. Give permission and ask this question. If you had total freedom, how would you solve this? So it's like giving people freedom. If you had all of the resources in the world, how do you think this would play out for you?
Yeah, I like this sometimes as an exercise of, hey, one, it's a problem that I'm facing, and I actually genuinely need my people's help, but it's a way to help them, teach them how to be a problem solver. So sometimes it's not even their problem. Right. I'm bringing my problem to them sometimes. And saying, hey, if you had total freedom, all the resources you need, how would you solve this?
Yeah.
What would be the way that you would go about this?
Because the interesting thing is that often maybe it's a key volunteer or it's a part-time staff person, maybe when we begin to jump in and tell them how to solve these things, we're not creating any muscle in them. We want to ask them, what do you think? And by the way, that's not suggesting that I, as the leader, I know what the right answer is, but I just want them to somehow come to my conclusion. They can come up with something that's way out of the box and awesome.
And way better than what you had.
Guaranteed. And I've seen it happen. So it's not being presumptuous. Yeah.
It's not. And part of this too is what else we got on there on the slide there is celebrate creative risk.
Yes.
Not just the successful results. And so if you want true innovation, you're going to celebrate that we're doing something. We're taking a risk.
We're doing something new. We're doing something new. In other words,
trying something new.
Again, people move toward the applause, and you're celebrating and applauding creative risks, not just when they win. Because watch this. Somebody might go, well, you know what? I don't want to take a creative risk. I want to do the easy layup because I keep getting applauded for the easy layup. You need to applaud creative risks, whether or not they end up scoring or not, because a creative risk is a muscle. I love this. Well, let's close this plane here. Ask your team what elements are missing and how can we fix it. It's putting it into somebody else's court, because I never wanted to be a resource unto myself. I was always on a team, and I just did not feel comfortable, Vance, leading independently. I just didn't, because I just generally don't think that I'm smart enough to think of every angle. I'm just not.
Well, and sometimes you're just blind to it.
That's right.
Again, we all have our blind spots and inefficiencies. And so we may think we're killing it in clarity. And in our own mind, man, I'm being crystal clear. And then your team's like, man, you're about as clear as mud. We're not getting what we need. And so it's making those assumptions. Okay, is it accountability? Is it innovation? Is it clarity? What element is missing? And then, okay, how's a team do we fix this? And and realizing more often than not, you are the problem. And so how do we fix this? Often it comes back to you as the leader of how we bridge that gap from, this is the weak one. And again, we all have it. We all naturally are probably, just like in all organizations, because organizations are led by leaders, are typically good at one, maybe two, but rarely all three.
Yeah, that's good. I would love to have somebody come in and do an audit of me as a leader in terms of those three. Painful? Yes, but good. And then to ask, how could we fix it? Well, Vance, this is always good stuff. You're an exceptional leader. I'm very, very, very grateful for you. Thanks so much for helping us kick off this new year. I love it.
Yes.
2026, we're here. And so we're talking about leading productively. And you don't want to be going in a direction that isn't the intended direction. That's not productive. And so we got to get that organizational clarity. Well, gang, we're super grateful that you're here. Stay with us. And remember, if you are a member at any level, we have all of these extras, these extra podcast things that can take this particular concept and take it far deeper. All right, gang, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Lead Ministry Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and visit leadvolunteers.com for more episodes and resources. Thanks for listening.